Hello, all you heroes, villains, and innocent bystanders. Welcome to another episode of An Angel and Her Unicorn comic book reviews. I'm Alan the Unicorn, and with me is...
Raylan the Hyena.
Who is apparently on mute. Who are you?
Raylan the Hyena.
That's right. Welcome to another episode where we'll be spoiling the books of the week. So if you haven't read your books, you may want to pause the video, go and read really fast, come back, bring them with you, and enjoy the horrible opinions that we will conceive of. And I will eventually have the times in the descriptions in the bottom of each book, so that way you can skip to them if you don't want to listen to me ramble about something else, which my rambling is amazing. Raylan's is not. She doesn't ramble. She's very concise, to the point. She's burning a hole in my face right now, isn't she? Anyways, let's get to the reviews. Which one are you gonna review first?
Young Justice, Wonder Comics.
Okay. Did you Wonder Comics is their younger
The youngers.
Yeah, they're kind of starting a line. They did Wonder Twins. They're doing this. They're doing Naomi, and I think one other. But they're kind of like a younger reader kind of book.
It's like a Wonder Girl, Teen Lantern, Amethyst, and Jenny Hex.
So, oh, I thought you knew how to work it, huh?
I do, and
obviously
it's not.
All right, so let's download it, and now hit read, and now it'll go.
You don't have it automatically.
I'm just telling you, no, you just knew all so much. She was so excited. She was getting ready out of my business.
You're mean.
I am very, very cruel.
So it starts in Gym World.
Does it say the writer and artist really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Does it have it on there somewhere?
Somewhere.
Bendis, Brian Bendis is Bendis is the writer and Gleason is the artist. Okay.
So it starts in Gym World. The gym. And it's the Lord Opal. And he's like killed a whole bunch of people and all that.
Yeah, he's got kind of like a consortium of people.
And right now these two guys, I think he's an Emerald and some other guy are talking. And they said the only way to like not get killed is to cut off Princess Amethyst's head. Mm-hmm. So then she says, "Come and get it," and then Robin's on her horse.
Yep, and they appear out of nowhere. To fight them.
And then in the Forest of Topaz, Jenny Hicks, I believe.
I think that's her name.
Hicks is in her truck and comes out of nowhere. And she's all confused because Teen Lantern's all on top of her.
But she doesn't realize who it is because she's encased in this like robot thing.
And she can't really tell what she's in.
Yeah.
So she's confused if anyone's even in there. She finds this weird alien gun and her shotgun. And she's mad. She says, "Get out of my truck."
Yeah.
And then Wonder Girl comes and she's like, "Don't worry. We're not in Metropolis, but everything's fine," basically.
Yeah.
So then she says, "What's your name?" She's like, "They're like outsiders," and she's like, "You're not one of the Teen Titans."
She's trying to figure out who she is, so she can't figure out who Jenny Hex is, and Jenny Hex can't figure out who Wonder Girl is. Even though Wonder Girl's a very popular hero in the comic books, I think that's going to have something to do with some of the stuff later on, is possibly that that's the reason that people don't know.
And then she says, "You're not a Teen Titans," and she's like, "Yeah, I am. I'm Beast Boy."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, great. Sarcasm and a shotgun." And then it takes you to Jacksonville, Florida, the Atlantic Coast High School.
So it kind of goes back in time.
Weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's her fighting this
Sparrow.
red demon guy. And then she's beating him up and beats him up all the time at the football game. One guy says Zatanna. It's Zatanna.
So see, yet again, they still don't know who she is. So I feel like they're building up to something like she's been erased from history, or something's happened to where she's not, like, nobody knows who she is, which they should know. So I'm curious, but all the friends kind of know her.
Yeah, and she's like, it's always something with Star Labs. And so her and the officer talk, and then for some reason I'm the principal here. And she's like, and he says, I'm going to need a full statement. And then this guy looks, she says something.
Brief snippets. So she kind of meets her.
Something bad.
Yeah, she meets her grandfather, who ends up being who?
Zeus. And so she flies to him, talks to him. He's like, why not call me Zeus or whatever. And so they talk, and then she wonders why he's here, and she knows something's up, but he's just acting like he's just here to visit her.
And try to give her like a...
And she's like, who died?
Yeah, because he doesn't ever come to
the thing, and he tries to tell her she's going to be a pantheon god.
Yeah, so she's going to be a part of the gods.
And she's like, I really haven't earned it, and I don't want to do it because I haven't earned it.
Right.
And he also wants to start and build their relationship.
Which she's kind of skeptical about. She's like,
why after all of a sudden,
yeah.
And then they talk more, and then he gives her this amulet type necklace thing.
Because it's supposed to be the part of the trinity of her bracelets, her lasso, and this necklace.
Yeah, and then she's getting confused, and she's like, I'll take it when I earn it.
Right.
And he's like, and he's giving it to her so she can protect the realm. And she's like, why are you giving this to me?
Big conversation. Needless to say, she doesn't take it because she wants to earn it.
In the end, she doesn't take it.
Right.
She wants to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
then it cuts back to...
It goes back to, oh my god.
Well, now. Watch. If you do this, and then you can see the whole page.
I know. You're now... And then that's when she's sarcastic.
Yeah.
She says, you're not one of the Teen Titans. Yeah, I'm Beast Boy. And she's like, oh good, sarcasm and a shotgun. And then she's like, wait, you know who Beast Boy is? And so she says, yeah, he's a Teen Titan. So she gets confused how she recognizes Beast Boy, but not her. So then Teen Lantern says something for the first time. And she's like, hey, cool, Wonder Girl. And so Wonder Girl's like, hop in the truck, so let's take a look together. And so they get in the truck, and Wonder Girl flies, and she's like, Teen Lantern, you can get in. And she's like, so you can save your energy. But she's like, nah, I'm good. So they're flying, and then, boom, they run into Robin
and
Amethyst, who... Robin gets kicked off the horse, and Amethyst ends up being fine, but thankfully they fall on Teen Lantern's pillows.
Yes.
He says that the horse really does have a kick, really can kick, and so she's like, I told you. And then they say, that's my friend Wonder Girl, but I'm not genuinely sure what the rest of this is just yet. Teen Lantern, and then she's like, Teen Lantern, I just saved your life. So they ask, how do they know each other? They actually just met. We literally just, and then your kingdom, unbelievable, see, and so it's Lord Opal and him talking about Amethyst.
So he comes in to kill everybody. That's basically what it is.
He's here to kill everyone.
So what'd you think of this issue?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I need a little bit more than good. They're all dying to know.
I thought it was okay. I mean... Did
you like the characters?
Yeah, I did, but...
Did you understand the story?
Yes, I understand the story.
Yeah? It's kind of fun. I like how they're all interacting. Mm-hmm. I think that I like who they have on the group. So far, I really enjoy the... I like Wonder Girl. I like Robin's really cool. Teen Lantern looks like she's gonna be fun. Curious to see what they're. So I like the new characters and I like the old ones also. They're a lot of fun. And then, what do you think about the art?
The art's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it really fits the book. It looks really young and hip and fun. Very clean.
So, I'd give it a 3.
3 out of 5?
Yeah.
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So I would recommend it for, I'd say younger readers would really enjoy it. If you're a big Teen Titans or the old Young Justice group, if you were a fan of theirs, it's kind of very similar to what they're, starting off with what they're doing. So I'm kind of excited about that. So yeah, it's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna do Female Furies.
I wanted to read that one. That
number
was
1.
One of the ones I wanted to read. I wanted to read that one. I couldn't find it on the pull list. It wasn't on the iPad.
I don't download them if I got them in thing unless you need to read them.
Oh.
So, Raylan got in trouble this week. Unfortunately, she was made bad choices, so her mom got to pick her books. So she didn't get to pick the ones she wanted to read. So she's bitter about it. It's because she didn't get to pick them. So maybe next time, or maybe you can read it later.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it's not exactly. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So, Female Furies number 1. It's going to be, I think, a 6-issue miniseries. The writer is Cecile Castellucci, and the illustrator is Adriana Milio. And it's pretty good. The art's really nice.
Wait, who's that? That's Big Barda.
Yeah. They'll tell all their people here in a minute. It kind of does some flashbacks and flash forwards of things. But it talks about how Granny Goodness and Darkseid and the Darkseid's crew kind of takes over Apocalypse. He sends Granny Goodness to kill his mom, which she fights him, and she ends up. Darkseid comes in, gives her this poison to use on the mom, and then he uses that to say, "Hey, I killed her." Granny Goodness didn't do it, even though Granny Goodness was the one that actually poured it down and actually stopped her. And then it cuts to her kind of forming her Female Furies, and they have to fight each other and compete. And
Big
it's
Barda.
Arlie is the one that you're talking about.
That's Lashina. Lashina, and then Arlie, Mad Harriet, then
Stampa and Burden Death. And so they're all fighting each other. Then it kind of flashes back again to the past where it's kind of Granny Goodness' story about how she's trying to rise up in the ranks because she's the only female general that Darkseid has. So all the other generals obviously are giving her a hard time. They don't really like her. They keep fighting with her, and she has to keep proving herself constantly. Darkseid ends up... he almost kind of gets a little rapey, which was not really cool. I really felt bad like that. That was some really uncomfortable situation. But then he just doesn't care about her, so she gets put in charge of the orphanage, and then it shows like her when she forms the Female Furies. She's trying to make them. She says they train harder or train the same as the males because she wants them to be just as strong. And then the generals kind of degrade them by making them do like menial stuff like a baking contest, an evening gown wear, and a swimsuit contest.
The outfits.
Yes, so they're all mad because they want to go to battle and want to be able to do this, but the men are just kind of putting them down.
Those Stampa in those outfits is pretty unique.
I know, she's a big lady. So
no, it's just the outfit they put her in. They put her in the weirdest evening outfit.
You don't like the ruffles?
No! That fits Manhattan.
Mad Harriet.
I don't know where they get the Harriet part.
I don't know. It's just part of her name. So they kind of are showing that one of the generals is interested in the Arlie lady. She's kind of like the leader of the Female Furies. And he is kind of trying to get Granny Goodness to let him train her, but he doesn't want to train her. He just wants to have his way with her, which he kind of does. And so she keeps going back to him to kind of try to save the other Female Furies from having to deal with him, because she doesn't want to put anybody else through that. So they go and they try to save this kid that escaped, and she's trying to. But then one of the other generals kind of like quit. One of the other generals kind of secondhand person comes in and is going to take the little girl away. But he, the leader, Ariel, as she kind of takes him out and she kills him because she's like, you're not taking them to abuse her. And so she kind of saves her. And Big Barda's like, why are you doing this? You should have just let him have her. And she's like, no, nobody's going to get hurt. And then they bury him on an asteroid where nobody can find him. And she's like, nobody's going to tell my secret. So it's kind of a really dark story. A lot of unfortunate rape scenes, which I find awkward and uncomfortable, which I think obviously rape should be awkward and uncomfortable for anybody. But I also felt like it was a little heavy-handed. It almost was like the whole book was trying to make you uncomfortable. And I felt like they could have done it a little bit different. I really was hoping it would be a little bit more of a fun story. Like, I really like the female Furies, but I feel like this is very much of a dark side of the story, which I think it will be interesting. I'm curious to see what the 6 issues, how it'll end up. But the art's really amazing. I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
My favorite scenes was those swimsuits.
Yeah.
At least everyone mainly wore an outfit that went with them, except Stompa. She did not. Her and that woman. She likes bows. Bernadette.
Yeah.
Her. Yeah, she is. Her face is worse than Stompa's.
But anyways, it was the art was really, really good. I unfortunately was hoping it would be a little bit of a different story about them maybe like being more strong instead of. But I see how they kind of want to do the vulnerabilities. But
yeah.
So I give it probably a 3 out of 5 unicorn horns. I'm interested to see what it's going to look like or what the end of the 6 issues are going to be. So I think if you give a chance, I'm curious to see what other people are going to think. Especially female Fury fans. I'm curious to see what they will say. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next issue and see where they're going to go with this. So, what's the next one you're going to do?
I downloaded it like I know how. Downloaded it.
Oh, who showed you how to do that?
Me.
Mm-hmm. Just learned that on your own, didn't you? Just now?
Yep.
You're genius. Wait! Give it a second. It's got to download, weirdo. See, now you're way ahead. Look. Oh my gosh.
It was downloaded.
The impatience
it was
of
on
youth.
the wrong page anyways. Oh my god.
Impatience of youth.
You're mean.
I know. I've got the book right here.
So, we're at the
You're
beginning.
stubborn.
Thank you. The artist, there's like a cover artist and a variant artist. Which one do I read?
You can read the cover artist. I think it was the artist. But
is Kim Jacinto and Rain Burrido.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Now do I start?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Oh, can I say the characters?
But the writer is Jim Zub, and the artist is Steve Cummings for the actual book.
Okay. Can I say the characters?
Why don't you just go through and review? I think everybody's going to know the characters.
Okay. I don't remember Snowcard and Ironheart.
She wasn't in this issue.
I know, but it says she's a character. So it starts at...
She's a character on the team. It's the team. Not
I thought when it would name them.
No, it's the character of all the team. It's the team.
Oh.
It's not just who's in this book.
Because
they all in the team.
Yeah. Those 3 weren't in it.
So you didn't read the first issue, though?
No, because you didn't have it downloaded.
Well, because I didn't know you wanted to read it. I would have downloaded it. Anyways, the first issue, all this stuff had happened, but you didn't know what had happened. You didn't know what had happened to these 3 characters that are these 4 characters, Viv and Miss Marvel and
I
Braun and
saw
all
what
them.
happened.
You didn't know what happened with them. They just they talked about their mission they went on, and when they came back at the end of the book, they just kind of were like, they're weird. And then Mephisto shows up at the end of the book. So now this issue is filling in what happened to them while they were gone.
Now that kind of makes sense, that fire in the middle.
Yep, it's kind of the Mephisto.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it starts off with Sam Alexander flying the plane with the mascot.
Yeah.
He's mad because he lost his powers.
Yep.
Somehow.
He got his helmet taken away. The Nova Core. Yep.
That's what caused him his powers?
Yeah. That's what gave him his powers was the helmet.
Oh, well, that's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he used to be Nova, so he's now grounded.
Well, he kind of just flies the plane and helps them with like other stuff. So he feels kind of weak because he wants to be Nova again.
So right now they're battling Zax. Who doesn't say his S. He says Z instead.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Because he's made out of electricity.
And so he's talking to him, and they're fighting him, and they're trying to beat him, but he's just gaining more and more electricity, and he's still talking weird, and they're still fighting him, and what's his... Braun
mm-hmm.
is putting this thing together to save him, and it's almost ready, but he's collecting more and more power, and then before they can get it, the Sam Alexander loses power with him, and he gets all this powers and then blows up.
Yep.
And it hits Captain
Miss Marvel.
Hits Miss Marvel right through like the chest area and blasts her, and then Viv tries to go after her.
Yep.
And she's about to save her. And Miles saves this like one woman.
And she's really grateful. She's like very excited.
Like, bless your heart.
Yeah.
And
which is important this is important later.
Yeah.
This woman.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Keep going.
And he says thanks because we're going to need him. And so Viv comes and she's making sure Miss Marvel's okay, and she's checking on her. And she asks Braun if he's ready, and he's like 8 more seconds. And then right before she could go back, she gets hit with the electricity. He yells out her name, and she screams. And then after that, he is talking how they're weak and stuff. And then he says, Thou now you die. And so
now you die.
Now you die.
Now you die.
And so he explodes this thing, and it's exploding. And Miles says, "Everybody run!" He says, "Oh no," because Captain Marvel is still recovering, and Viv is kind of like stuck because she was phasing.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Hold on."
So everybody's injured. Viv is dead.
Wait,
Miss Marvel's dead.
They're not dead yet.
No, they're dead.
Not yet. And then when the explosion happens, they're dead. Yeah. The explosion hadn't happened yet.
But she died when she got phased and stuck into the rock. She got short-circuited.
Oh, she was already dead then?
Yep, that's why he picked her out. Yep.
Oh, because she looked like she was still semi-conscious, but now I see it.
Yeah.
So
they're all dead.
So those two are dead. Miles is like injured, but he's still alive, and he's looking for Miss Marvel, Viv, and
Amadeus, which is Braun. That's his real name. Amadeus Cho.
Amadeus, and he's looking for Amadeus. Braun breaks through these rocks and says, "Over here." He's got Viv, and she's dead. And then Miles finds Miss Marvel.
Kind of has a flashback.
A thing.
When they meet.
And they meet. And then he finds her dead. And so they're both like mourning together. Mm-hmm. And Braun has a flashback with him and Viv. And I guess they're really good friends. So is she like related to Vision?
She's Vision's daughter.
Oh.
So here's what we're going to do. I want you to keep the whole page, and I want you to go really brief about it, okay? Because when you focus on one thing, you can't. So focus on the whole thing and just tell exactly what happened.
So they're talking, they're holding Viv, one's holding Viv.
Everybody's kind of gone.
And talking, and then all of a sudden, Satan comes out of nowhere.
Mephisto.
No, Mephisto?
His name is Mephisto.
Mephisto comes out of nowhere.
Mephisto.
And they think it can't be real.
Right.
But then he's like, so you see gods, aliens, and all this stuff, but Satan can't be real?
Right, exactly.
And so they start talking, and he's like, I can help you. And then one of them says it's a trick, and so he keeps trying to help him and say he can help him. And then he says, I will do it with no soul taken, no oath demanded, no blood
no
contract.
strings attached. I'll reverse time, save everybody.
Save everyone.
Yeah.
And he's like, but do it before I change my mind.
Right.
And then Miles is like, do it. And so he does it. He says this chant. He talks.
All the magic people kind of feel the difference in the air.
Wait. Those are all they're feeling it?
Yeah, they're kind of magic users. That's Doctor Strange.
Who's that?
Talisman, Dr. Voodoo, and Lady Satana, I think. Or
doesn't she have a twin?
Yes.
A twin brother in the comics?
No, she's got a twin sister.
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure.
So they're all like magic users and they feel it?
Right.
And he says by the Holy...
Nope. Stay on the big page.
So that's why.
Right.
They feel the magic. And so then it goes back in time and they're all
alive again. Everybody's good.
And so Braun hurry ups and he's like, give me 8 seconds instead of 30.
Because he's able to remember the code that he needed, the frequency he needed. He's able to remember it from before. So he could do it faster. And
so all of a sudden he puts it in really, really fast. And they capture Zax. And everyone's good. Mm-hmm. And they don't remember being dead.
Now, this is the one thing. You can look at this thing. Do you notice whose the arm that is?
That's the lady.
The ladies, I know. So I bet
at the end
she was supposed to be important for some reason. And I bet Mephisto didn't want her to be alive. And so that's the way he got to kill him.
That because I kept trying to figure out who that was.
Yeah, it was that lady that Miles rescued.
Help everyone we can.
Yes.
And so they save everyone but like her.
Right. So I'm curious. I think what they're gonna maybe do is maybe either bring that into like she was like, especially with Miles, Mephisto's probably gonna use it to kind of manipulate him that he let her die. Because when they reversed time, he didn't save her. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. So what did you think about the story?
Because this is your really good.
Yeah? Did you like all the characters?
Yeah. I really like Viv.
Yeah.
So who's her mom?
She is, I can't remember her name, but Vision made a family. And it was a mom, Viv, and then there was another boy. And the boy got killed, I think, or shot down or something. And then the mom went crazy and started killing people, so he had to shut her down, and Viv was the only one that survived out of all of it. And
what about Viv?
That's what I said, Viv.
Oh, Vision doesn't say?
He does, but only the other ones. So, but yeah, it was a really dark book, but I didn't get to finish it all, so I'm not for sure exactly. I may get my facts a little bit wrong on that one. But I know that Viv was
Scarlet Witch isn't her mom? Because I know they have gotten married before.
Right. That's a way
and they've had kids before, too.
Right. And so their kids are Silver Streak and Wiccan. And from the Young Avengers. But
and then Scarlet Witch has another kid with Nightcrawler.
Mm-mm.
She doesn't?
No.
I saw something on it about it.
Not that I'm aware of.
Her name is like Talia or something.
So that is from a different alternate timeline, and she was in the Exiles for a little while. So she's not in this timeline.
Oh no, I was just mentioning. I knew she wasn't from this timeline.
Right.
I was just mentioning something.
Yeah.
That.
So in this timeline, she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But so what about the art? Did you like the art?
I like the art. Yes.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. I really like the book. I think the characters are a lot of fun.
I love
The story is
Viv.
really interesting.
Viv, she's my favorite.
And then,
She's cute.
what would you rate it?
I'd rate it a 4.
Yeah, that's pretty high up there. I'd say a 4 out of 5. I wouldn't disagree with that. I'm going to review Wasted Space. It's by Vault Comics, and it's number 6. This one is a little bit weird. I came in the middle of it, so obviously it's a little bit difficult, especially when you don't know all the characters. But it's Michael Morsi, and the art is by Hayden Sherman. So the premise of this is, I guess there's like a group of bounty hunters kind of thing, like they're little rebels. There's a group of gods kind of archetype characters. And it starts off with these gods kind of talking about this one particular person, and he's talking about how life is all about love, and when you love too much, you can kill things, because he smashes his puppy by accident, and all of a sudden, this other god, he didn't do it on purpose. He was just loving him, but he was too strong, so his love for him was too strong. Smash the puppy. Puppy dead. So this other guy comes in and kills the person he's talking to, and I think he's supposed to be kind of the villain of the series, but he's kind of another god, and so the red guy is wanting to kill the white guy, and the white guy's like, I'm onto you. You're not gonna get me. But then it cuts to these bounty hunters, because I guess they're trying to find a way to kill this other god, and so there's this merry band of weirdos. There's kind of like a Han Solo kind of character, and he goes to see this guy who is a rich guy, and he has all these like kind of guards, and so he's trying to find a way to kill this.
He really does look like Han Solo.
Kind of does, doesn't he? With blonde hair, though. So they all come in, and they're talking to the rich guy, and they're kind of like, hey, we need you to give us the amulet around your neck so that we can kill this guy. And he's like, not happening. He goes, I have all the guards. You're not gonna get out of there. So he goes, oh, you mean all the guards that my other 2 guys killed? And so there's 2 blue guys. I think one's a girl, but I'm not for sure. It's really, the art is really awkward, so I'm not for sure if it's a guy or a girl. They say that they are neither, and then there's a guy, and they're both blue.
They're not genders. They're gender neutral?
Like, one is gender neutral, and the other one is just a guy. So they kill all these guards, they murder them, and then they get excited about murdering them, and so they have, they make love.
Wait, so are they, like, siblings?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think they're just together.
Oh. At first, when you said that, I thought it was weird, because I thought they were, like, siblings.
Which is even grosser, but I wouldn't... You know what? Sometimes books are just odd. You never know. So,
like
they finally... Yeah, I don't disagree. That's a book, weird book. So they kill off all the, they kill off the guards, and they take the amulet from the guy. And then it cuts to the gods talking again. He goes, you think you're going to be able to destroy me? He goes, yeah, I think I can do it. And, what do you say?
Excuse me.
And then, it's kind of weird. Then there's a female character that is like, she's trying to have visions. And so she has a vision of her brother being attacked and by this like snake robot creature, and also the gender neutral person is with them. So she runs up and tells them that that snake creature is gonna kill her brother, and so is this the gender neutral person is gonna kill them. And so they're like, well, how's that gonna be? You know, they're here. Why would they kill him? And then it cuts to the rich guy talking to this other guy that has, I guess, the other half of the amulet. And he's like, I hope they show up, and then it shows like this big warehouse of all these robots. And so I'm curious to see
where it goes.
Yeah, and I also kind of want to read the first books to understand it a little bit more, because honestly, like, it's really super confusing, but it's slightly interesting. And the art is really, really weird. It's very sketchy and very almost cartoony-ish. So I'm not for sure. I kind of like it, but then I kind of don't. And so I was very torn. But it did pique my interest enough to where I want to go back and read the other ones and see what's going to happen. So I'm going to continue on with this. But I still would give it a middle-of-the-road rating. I'd probably say a 3 out of 5 unicorn horns, just because I really want it to be... I wanted it to be something a little bit more clear, but obviously coming in issue 6 is a little bit difficult. But like a good comic book, I think it's piqued my interest enough to where I'm going to go back and want to read the rest of them. So,
Hey, Alan, do you know if honey badger's claws are bone or adamantium?
I think they're bone. So, that's going to be your next book? You going to do X-23?
Yes,
All right.
This is my last book.
The last book for Raylan, which is X-23.
And then you'll have your last book.
Yep. And
What's
then I'll
your
have
last book?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet.
So, this is X-Assassin Part 3. It starts in Beast's lab, Xavier Institute, with Honey Badger singing and being herself and like having a mop on her head and doing all this weird stuff.
But she's talking to the robot.
But she's talking to the robot.
Her robot clone.
Then she says, "Laura, where are you?" And so the next morning, it's Beast and Laura talking about her, and she has like DNA like them, but she has broken DNA, so she
the robot girl.
Yeah, the robot girl. So she can't heal correctly.
Right. And that's why they kind of put the robot parts on, is because she's not...
Because she can't heal correctly. Right. And so, they also mention when Gabby fell on her, and Gabby says sorry, of course. So it mentions Stan's soapbox. And so they're talking about this satellite thing that she's connected to, and
some kind of signal that they're going to follow.
Something that they're going to follow. Uh-huh. And, it's linked with Meta X-Tronics.
Which is the company. Yeah.
X-Tronics. And did she say X? And he's like, yeah. And so now, and Honey Badger says, did I leave my phone there? So Laura's leaving on her bike, and she's going to, I forgot where she's going.
To the place, the Meta X-Tronics place.
Yeah. And then Honey Badger stays there, and then it's her talking in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
So she leaves, and then Honey Badger starts talking to Hank and about the robot, and so of the DNA and stuff. And then she's like, she mentions just because she has a broken DNA, does that not mean she's like related to us? And she's like, and then Beast says, family is as you define it, but no, she is a clone of Laura like you. And she says,
so she's just kind of establishing what she wants. Yeah, she's
like kind of worried about her.
Right. She wants to see if she's part of the family. Is she really part of us?
And then you go to Queens, New York, where Laura is. She talks to this girl, gets this Debbie girl's wallet. And then she's talking to the girl at the counter about...
She's trying to break in
and all the nerdy stuff. Yeah. And Gabby comes with a t-shirt.
For the robot.
For the robot. And she says fudge nuggets because she's gone.
Right.
And then she finds 3 mutants playing a game. And they're like, get out. You're letting out the energy. So she leaves. And then it goes back to X-23, who's arrived at the thing. And she's at door number 2. And they scan her and find out who she is.
Right.
So now, like, the security is going off. And then you go back to Honey Badger, who's still looking for the robot.
Mm-hmm.
So X-23 starts beating up guards.
Of course. That's what she does.
That's what she's best at.
That's what she's best at, beating people up.
And then, finally, Gabby, or Honey Badger, finds her on the roof.
Mm-hmm. Finds the robot.
And she's just staring there, not talking or anything. And she mentions, I have your shirt. And then she also mentions, do you have a name so I don't keep calling you Robot?
Yeah.
And she keeps trying to think of a name, but then she puts her sword in her face, and then you see Laura killing more robots.
That she's pretty good at.
Yep, and now she's in this room of dead robots. And Honey Badger still has the sword in her face, but she puts it down and starts pointing at herself.
Yeah. And she doesn't realize. Gabby's trying to figure out what she's pointing at.
Yeah, and then Laura's going through another security room thing, and this voice starts talking to her on the other side, and she finds Fuchs.
I know, like that is a weird. Like I don't know for sure how they
pronounce it.
Tuox.
We'll go with that.
Tuoks. Tuox. Monica. Peanut Gallery. Tuoks. Tuox.
We were thinking 2-ox or 2-oaks. We weren't certain on that.
2-ox, I think it is.
2-ox.
Consensus.
We'll go with 2-ox. So
Monica's the brains behind the operation. She's behind the camera. She's quiet.
2-ox. So her and 2-ox. So she's like, okay, your name's 2-ox, and then she says hello, and then she hears Gabby, and it's Laura talking to her because there's more robots.
All the robots that are like kind of like 2-ox.
Yeah, and she's
like, I need you here now.
Yeah, and so they jump from the roof and then land, and then you see them running, and Gabby's running, and then 2-ox has the shirt on, and they said, and she says, this is gonna be like Blanche and Dorothy with claws. And so, and what's funny is you see her smile on her face, and then you see her serious face.
Like, no.
She's like,
yeah.
And then she's like, and so they're running, and it says to be continued. And then my favorite part about this is definitely that art. Look at it.
I know, the cover.
Yes,
yeah,
I love that
really
art.
amazing.
Next.
Yep. So
it
let's
looks
play the
like a metal claw, but it looks like a bone claw.
I'm not for sure. I'd have to read more about Gabby. I don't know exactly everything about her. I've kind of just recently started reading X-23.
Does she have less healing powers? Like, because she has scars, but she doesn't have scars.
I think it's just more like just the artist's choice of what they're showing that they're in a fight. But I find it interesting. I like because Wolverine's the original, and he has 3 claws. Then there is X-23 Laura, which has 2 claws, but she has 1 in her foot.
3 claws in total, but she has 1 on each foot and 2 claws here and here.
And then Gabby has just the 1.
Yeah, Gabby, who is the clone of X-23, has hers here.
Right, so they kind of have like a 3-2-1 kind of thing, which I think is kind of interesting. But I'm fairly new to the X-23 world. I'm really not a huge fan of Wolverine, but I've really loved...
I really like X-23.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good book. I love it.
I've heard bits and pieces.
Right.
In this one storyline, X-23's friends with this one mutant named Mercury. And this one, she's actually a prostitute in this one comic.
So she is. That's her origin. So she was it was Nyx, NYX, and they had that's how they kind of found her. She was like she was kind of.
She would do that.
Right.
But
well,
now
she was kind of an assassin.
She was an assassin / prostitute. Now she kills for good.
Yes. Now she's and she had a special trigger, so they would trigger her, and so she would go on these berserker rage and try to kill everybody, and then they'd have to figure out. But
how is it at 3-2-1 since she technically still has 3 claws?
Because it's still only 2 on the hand, 3 on the hand, 2 on the hand, 1 on the hand. I know she's got 3 claws, but
I know.
It doesn't count as on the hand.
But when you go by hand, it's 3-2-1.
3-2-1.
And then he also has a son. He also has a son, Draken,
who has 3.
He has 2 on his hands, and then 1 that comes out on his wrist.
I know, and it's weird.
I know, because it's like a curve.
I know.
It's come out, but it's curved, and I'm like, so how do you fight? Do you do this?
lots of this.
Because you can't stab. You have to
Well, I guess if you put the 1 in, you could stab and then bring the other one in. I don't know. I don't have claws. I don't have. It's not something I worry about on a daily basis.
I do. I like to imagine myself as one.
So what did you think about the art?
I liked it. I
Yes?
give that one a 5.
It was
Just
really...
because I really like X-23 and Gabby.
you know what? I would probably give it a 4, because I do feel like it is a little simplistic, but I really like... Yeah, it's just a very basic story. You know, it's kind of... But I love it. So the 5 is actually pretty good, too. I wouldn't... and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. People of Wolverine, younger people, all that stuff.
You don't even like Wolverine.
I know, I don't like Wolverine, but I like X-23.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't even like X-23. X-23 is okay. I like Gabby. Gabby's hysterical.
She's the best.
Like, when she walks in there and she's like, fudge nuggets. Like, cause she's like talking to the robot and she's trying to find it, and she's just so sweet, and she wants everybody just to be friends, and she just wants to fight,
like,
and she's
that
such
one
a good
thing
time.
you mentioned when her, clone power.
Yeah.
She likes to relate with the cuckoos. She
Yes.
has, like, every time she sees a cuckoo, she's always, like, being weird and, like, herself.
Yeah,
and
she's so...
She likes to do clone relating talk.
And when she was in X-Men Red, she was really funny in that book, too.
Yeah, because didn't they get her a steak gift card?
Yes.
In one, they got her a steak gift card to a steakhouse, and she uses her sense to find it, and she's like, doesn't she say something about never having steak, but she's excited?
I can't remember. I'd have to read it
Yeah,
again. But she's got a lot of great one-lines.
Yeah.
She's funny.
She's
All right, so the last one I'm going to do is The
Good
Marvelous X-Men. So, recently...
Whoa, who's that?
Hang on. Recently, the X-Men have disappeared. There are no more X-Men.
What?
X-Man, and he has made all the X-Men disappear, almost.
X-Man? Who's X-Man?
That's this guy right here.
He made all the X-Men disappear?
Yep, but he has
That's
kind of shifted
Colossus,
them.
though.
He's kind of shifted them into a different world. So they're off of the regular world, and they are in a new world.
Age of X-Men.
Right. So the writer is
X-Man.
Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler, and the artist is Marco Falla. So in this book, like, there's kind of like this mutant utopia where mutants are all over the place, but nobody loves. There's no romance. There's no love.
Is that Lockheed?
Yes. And so they kind of have this utopia, but they don't. So it's kind of weird. So they are they all live in this little cul-de-sac, and then they get called to their X-Sanctuary, and they get they're told that a fire is consuming this kind of a birthing place. So they go to help protect the kids and save the forest, and Nature Girl goes to help the animals. So they break into 2 teams. There's Colossus, and in this version, Colossus doesn't have a left arm. X-Man, Storm, and Nature Girl go to stop the fire. And Jean Grey...
He also has a beard.
Yes. And Jean Grey, Magneto, X-23, and Nightcrawler go to save the kids.
Oh, that's who it is.
Yep, it's X-23.
Wait,
so,
but she, like, looks different.
Well, because they're in a different world. They're all different. It's kind of like he's erased all their memories.
Wait,
so they have all these different
arm.
memories.
See?
No, he doesn't, baby. It's right. Look.
Oh, it's cut off. It's like...
Yeah.
He still has
He's
some...
a stub. He has a stub. Yes. So he's an amputee.
And she's, like, completely bald.
But yes. So they're kind of different. Like, they're all just different.
Unique.
Yes. And so they try to save the animals, and they're also trying to save the kids. Well, X-23, when she's saving one of the babies, she remembers that she remembers Gabby. And so she's like, why do I remember a sister? So they kind of complete their mission. They save some of the kids.
And what I realized is Jean Grey's outfit looks a lot like the original Jean Grey outfit.
Yeah, but it's a little bit... It's got some obviously differences.
It's different,
but, yeah.
but it the color scheme.
The coloring scheme, yes. Very much so. So they save all the kids. They kind of do their little newscast thing, kind of promote themselves. X-23 is talking to X-Men about, like, I think I had a sister. And he goes, you do have a sister. And she goes, why would you take that away from me? And he's like, you can't have love. Like, this kind of stuff is not right. And so she goes to try to hurt him, and he stops her. And he kind of, like, mind wipes her a little bit. And they all kind of go back to their little hippie love fest, all kinds of ways. And then, in the meantime, Jean Grey is putting together this little puzzle box with her telekinesis. and she ends up getting like another psychic broadcast, which is kind of like the rebels. They're saying something's not right. Everybody should be able to love. You should embrace the life that us different. And so they're going to try to find out who is the bad guys. And she says, I found out it's Insabanor, which is Apocalypse. And she goes, and Genesis and Kitty Pryde. So I think they're going to bring those people in probably next time to kind of fight them, I would assume. And so it's interesting, but it's kind of boring. Because there's like this little utopia, and there's really not that much.
Nothing really happens. Nothing really happens.
Yeah, nothing really. That's what I'm saying. It's like nothing really happens. They kind of go on a little mission, and they got these little side stories, so it's okay. 3 out of 5 unicorn horns. I like the art's really good. I like the concepts of everybody. Like I think everybody looks different and weird and kind of still fun.
There's Jonathan the Honey Badger. Jonathan the Honey Badger.
I know. That's why she remembers her sister, but she got erased, so that she wouldn't.
So yeah. Gabby's not even there anymore.
Well, she may be, but she's not with X-23. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what I'm excited to kind of read the other books that are coming out with this. They've got kind of some different ones that are coming out that are weird, like the Amazing Nightcrawler. He's kind of a movie star, and so everybody knows him from all these movies. And so he's got his own book coming out that's probably going to be about movies. There's Next Gen, which I assume would be the younger generation, which I'm curious to see how they're going to do them. The Prisoner X, which is like if you love anybody, which Bishop and Jean Grey kind of had a relationship, and so they reconditioned Jean Grey and they put Bishop into this prison. So I'm curious to see.
Polaris, Beast.
I would assume, but I'm not for sure.
Well, who else has green hair in the X-Men?
I don't know, baby. I haven't read it. It hasn't come out yet.
And that's...
I can't tell you anything.
Oh, and you also...
Why are you asking me questions about stuff and I ain't even got there yet? I ain't even got there yet. You interrupted me. God, rude. So the extremists, I think it's got Psylocke in them on, and it's kind of like they're kind of like the covert op people. And then the Apocalypse and the X-Tax, I guess, assume are going to be the bad guys. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Yeah. So it's okay. Middle of the road. Art's pretty good. 3 out of 5 unicorn horns. Nothing really super exciting. So. All right. You said you read some other stuff, but it was older stuff? You didn't read anything new?
Me?
Yeah.
I read some other stuff, yeah.
You just read the other X-23 ones? You didn't read anything new?
Well, I read...
Yeah, you just read older stuff.
I read X-23 volume, album.
That would be older stuff.
Yeah, and then issue 7.
So nothing new. So let me see if I have read anything new in the digital, and then if I will go through my pull list really quick, and then we'll be done.
Pull list? What pull list?
All my comic books that I pulled.
You're gonna review all of them?
Yeah, that's what I do. I do every time. Oh, I read. So I did read Race to Space. That was it. Yep. I downloaded a lot of stuff this week, but unfortunately I haven't got to it. I was house sitting, so I was busy kind of going back and forth everywhere, so I kind of ran out of a lot of time.
What happens to every time you get one? What happens to the last week's one? Do they get deleted?
No. I'll tell you here later.
They stay on there?
I'll tell you later. Can we finish this real quick?
You're gonna... Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Thanks. Let's finish the show, and then we'll talk about all the stuff you would talk about, okay?
Okay.
So I read Star Wars. It's starting a new kind of story. It's continuing on a little bit, but I think they're kind of trying to move things forward from when they were stuck on the planet. It's actually getting kind of exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to this. So I give this probably a 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. If you're a Star Wars fan, definitely you'll like it. Uncanny X-Men. And so this is the X-Men or the mutants that are left on the planet, like in the regular timeline, that are not shifted into the Age of X-Men storyline. So Cyclops is back, and it talks about Cyclops, Wolverine, and Blindfold. And it's kind of like, it tells the same story, but from each of their viewpoints. Honestly, I think it was kind of redundant. I felt like after a while, the story, I didn't need to be retold the story 3 times. But I did like the different viewpoints, but I wish they could have done it a little bit better to show the different viewpoints at maybe at similar times instead of doing 3 different stories. Because honestly, it wasn't that exciting of a story. So it was okay. I would say 2 out of 5 unicorn horns, not my favorite. Plus blindfold dies, so I wasn't very happy about that. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's kind of fun. It's kind of getting a little interesting. They come into contact with some of the other old Guardians of the Galaxy or Infinity Watch people and some of the other space characters. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. It's not the greatest premise, but for somehow it kind of works a little bit. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I'd say 3 out of 5 unicorn horns.
That's Miss Marvel.
Hang on. Questions later. Avengers, number 14, actually was starting a storyline, which I think is going to, they're actually going to do something, which I think is exciting since it's issue 14 and they haven't done anything. But it's the Avengers are going to fight vampires. So the head vampires are trying to find Dracula to kill him. Then the Avengers are trying to help them and help Blade. They kind of cause Ghost Rider to become like this hell creature, and Dracula goes to Russia. He ends up in Russia. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen, but I still feel like it's a little too late. 3 out of 5 unicorn horns. Let's see. We did those. And Justice League. I don't even know why I read this book anymore. It's just so convoluted and weird and confusing. The only thing that saves this book, this issue, is the art is amazing. But they make Lex and the Martian Manhunter like they knew each other when they were little and their mind was wide. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Scott Snyder, he just needs to stop. It's just too much. It's too much stuff, unfortunately. So I'd say probably 1 out of 5 unicorn horns. If it doesn't pick up in probably the next 2 issues, I think I'm just going to be done with Justice League. So it and Avengers are close to the chopping block. But anyways, and so thanks for joining us. Until next week, we hope your pull list is full. If you get a chance, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And then we can have a conversation, because that's what our show's hopefully going to be about someday, is having a big conversation with a bunch of people talking about comic books. So if you get a chance, please share us with the world. We would love to hear from you. And I think that's about it. So until next week, I hope your pull list is full.
Bye.
Bye.